Bow down before my psycho power.
Lots of overlap between that AI art is cool, thank God I can generate it now, and that game is cool, thank God they made it easier. Things like the surface level understanding slash appreciation, the motivation of those who farm it, the results of soulless slop everywhere, and more. But there is this trend currently going on where people are turning pictures of themselves into Japanese styled AI art. You may not be able to tell what's wrong with this, so I'll just point a couple of things out. One, look at his hand right there. Two, look at the chess pieces, and they say with a real artist, you wouldn't have to ignore them. So when Speed Kicks here is talking about that art is cool, thank God I can generate it, they don't really care about like, oh, this is taking away all of the hard work that the Japanese people, went through to form this style, to create this passion, to learn this skill, to do this. Like, screw all of that. Now I could turn my 200 pictures I have in my phone into this art style with a press of a button, and I could post it and get a bunch of likes and have fun and whatnot, right? That is being compared to like the way that Tekken 8 is simplifying the game with auto combos, one button attacks that do crazy things like a heat smash, like a rage art. The artists are being screwed because their skill is undermined by AI. The veterans are being screwed because Tekken 8 is undermining their skill with easy mechanics and powerful attack and tracking strings. It all stems from this being an era of immediate gratification. They give all the thought to how the player on the offensive feels and no thought at all on how the receiving end of that offense feels, which just doesn't make sense at all. If you think about it, if someone is attacking and feeling good about themselves, someone is always on the other side feeling bad. So the sense of empowerment they chase so much with their design decision doesn't come for free. It comes at an equivalent cost of powerlessness. With King's tracking throws, with chip damage throws, with Anna's low plus frame rocket slide, with Clive's range, with Ultra Instinct, with all of these super powerful mechanics or moves you put into the game, someone will be on the receiving end of that and their experience will be soured. The example that I think summarizes it the best is when you go back to Launch Leroy. That's initially what made Aris quit. You know Aris, he was one of the biggest commentators, he was one of the biggest Tekken content creators at the time. He quit with Launch Leroy.
Look, I told you the moment I started playing Leroy, I told you, if you're not playing Leroy, you're finna get pissed, okay? Either you like Leroy or you don't like playing. I mean, that's just the way it is. He's good, and he's gimmicky, and he's cheap. He's got a ton of turnstile moves where, the standard honest style of Tekken, it just gets thrown out the window. He's full of turnstiles. High crush, low crush, safe, plus home block. I mean, parries.
I'm a newbie, but I'm guessing you know more than me. I don't know what I was saying at the time, but all opinions here are equal, bro. Whether you're a newbie or not doesn't matter because the game is catering to you. Your opinion and how you feel about the game is just as relevant, if not more. And this is why I'd like to talk to new players because I like to see how they feel about what the game is throwing at them. Going back to that comment that we just read from FeedX, when one person is attacking, the other person is defending. And even on a beginner level, that is still true. And where beginners don't understand all of their options, I wonder if they feel more oppressed by what's going on or if they don't feel oppressed. So Harada is responding to someone who's doing a cosplay of Jin Kazama. He says, wow. That's all he says. Now, someone shows up in the comment section. He says, bro, Harada, stop listening to pro player, and content creators' complaints about a game. Pick certain people in the community yourself that you want to listen to that can logically point out things that should be changed in the game. I nominate the main man Sui. Harada responds, in any case, regarding the recent increase in discussions among players, I have personally initiated an urgent discussion and asked the team to deliberate on how to respond. That first sentence alone is pretty crazy because I don't watch like a lot of Tekken content. I produce my own, and once I'm done doing that, I try to detach myself from Tekken. With that being said, I was talking about all of the backlash that season 2 was getting, and I know that there's many content creators out there who was doing the same thing, and a lot of those videos was getting record-breaking views. So this discussion is very viral, is very loud, and this is Harada's response to it. Is to set up a urgent meeting to discuss a way to respond. It goes on to say, regardless of player's title, I take this as an opinion from the Tekken community. Of course, I will analyze which group from beginners to advanced players is expressing that opinion. I will also consider whether the opinion comes from the majority or minority. This is also what I was just saying as well to the person in the chat who was talking about how they're a newbie. That doesn't mean at all that your opinion is irrelevant. And it's good to see that Harada is doing the same thing, not just for the advanced players, because I also think that the advanced players are very selfish. They want the game to be for them and only for them, and they feel that will be the best version of the game. But Tekken Tag Tournament 2 showed us that that is not true. So I do think there is room for improvement, which they did with Tekken 7. Tekken 8, they went too much in the direction of casuals. Now there's more room for improvement. It's not necessarily true that the opinion of advanced players is always the best for the game. For example, if there were the oh my, bro, I literally just brought up the Tekken Tag Tournament 2 example. I literally just brought it up. For example, if there were the case, Tekken Tag Tournament 2 should have sold better and been more successful. On the other hand, just because an opinion is from a minority doesn't mean it should be ignored. Well, these are just general statements. So what does this mean? What he was saying a little while ago, he was like poking his chest out, and he was telling everyone, just play the game. Wait until you play the game. Don't say the game sucks now. You haven't even played it. They were saying this, but it seems like all of the backlash that they received won. I don't know, bro. I think that the developers put themselves in these sticky situations, and they really don't need to. I think the developers really need to communicate better. Like, they need to stop hosting these Tekken Talks with the purpose of selling stuff. I think they really dropped the ball with the presentation of Season 2. We'll see whether or not the actual product itself is good, but the presentation of Season 2 has failed. And this is something that I was saying back when they were having the controversy surrounding the Chinese player being banned, back when they had the $5 stage DLC controversy, back when people were already upset about the balancing and whatnot. Something that I said is that going forward with Season 2, they cannot continue to have these type of controversies. But it's like, even though all of their metrics is pointing in the right direction, the online conversation around the game is terrible. And with how locked in people are to social media, that conversation bleeds. Like I said, I think Season 2 will be much better than what players think it will be, but the fact that it was presented terribly, it's a continuous thing that it's a continuous problem that the Tekken developers deal with. The Tekken developers, for whatever reason, are horrible at presenting. I don't know what it is about how they're doing things, but it always leads to controversy. After the fact, Harada and Michael Murray are on Twitter like arguing. Even when they teased Anna, you had this conversation of, oh, this character shouldn't be in the game. Her usage is this and that. Her usage is that. And that's why I was saying do Bruce overlay. Because with Lei, it's going to be the same thing. Whether or not Anna performs well will only fuel the fire or extinguish the fire around Lei. They really need to sit down and figure out how they keep getting in this situation. Every time they announced something new, the takeaway that players had was anger. From 333 Eddie, from Lydia should not be in the game, from the Heihachi story being trash and all the retcons, and then also the stage DLC. And then also Clive should have been Tifa. Clive is a bad pick. Clive is a bad this. Clive is a bad that. Even though the statistics now show otherwise. Because I made the video about the statistics. And Clive statistically is the most popular guest character of all time for Tekken. But even with that being the case, the general discussion around Clive is diabolical. No one wants to fight against him. People feel like it's a mockery of what Tekken is supposed to be. With me saying all of this stuff, I hope you guys don't feel like I'm trashing on the game. I'm not. I'm just laying out all of the things that happened over the first year of Tekken 8 and how it all was perceived as terrible by the players, and then the developers are there after the fact trying to pick up the pieces. You don't see that with Street Fighter, where Street Fighter show Terry, they show Mai, they show Bison, they show Akuma, and then after the fact on Twitter, they're talking about, oh guys, just wait until it actually comes out, you'll love it. Mortal Kombat showed that old lady character, everyone loved it. Mortal Kombat showed Floyd, everyone loved it. Mortal Kombat showed the new stage. They don't really have controversies the way that Tekken does. For some reason, the Tekken developers can't go 3 months without just radically upsetting everyone. Literally, they can't. I don't say that like happy. I'm not smiling. I'm not like, yeah, Tekken 8 sucks. No. You know, it wasn't like this in the past. And something changed. And now everything they do gets backlash. I'm happy that Harada called that urgent meeting, and I hope their solution is a real solution. Because one thing that I've said in the past, bro, is like they get themselves into a lot of trouble on Twitter. Going from the year 2020 to the year 2022, Michael Murray's reputation online was tarnished. At the start of Tekken 8, Harada was like, yeah. But now, after people were dealing with cheaters, after people were dealing with hackers, after people were dealing with balance, after people were getting trashed DLC reveals and controversy, Harada's now taking hits. And then now the escalation of things is where, okay, people are realizing that Harada and Michael Murray aren't really even the targets. They are a distraction. The real problem is Nakatsu. And now Nakatsu's reputation is being tarnished. It's a very chaotic situation, bro. And Tekken, I don't want the game to be this way. Bro, Tekken 7 was one of my most favorite games of all time. People think like I make like rant videos for fun. Tekken 7 was one of my best favorite games of all time. I played that game every day with a smile. Now to look at Tekken 8 being like a game that I can't even play for 10 minutes without even like, you know, it's like that's a horrible fall off.